Yeah, so the question is, what are we seeing across our different businesses as a result of the economy, and are there any bright spots of maybe counter-cyclical services that are actually up while the economy goes down? Does that capture it? So it's a really interesting market. A lot of times we'll run, one of our businesses will be up when another one's down, but right now there's pressure on all of our businesses at the same time. The consulting market is discretionary spend for companies for the most part, and so when everyone decides to tighten their spending, they'll start to cut out discretionary projects, and so there's pressure that's put on our consulting practice. Tax got a little gift from the regulators recently. There were some new regulations that came out around what's called transfer pricing, which is the amount of dollars that one part of a company charges another part of the company to move goods cross-border. It's probably the simplest way to capture it. And these new regs require companies to do a lot of stuff, and we can help them with that. So that part of the business gets a little boost, right, because the regulators just put in a new regulation. The audit practice, there's a ton of pressure on pricing. There's a lot of capacity in the industry right now because, I don't know if you guys know what Sarbanes was, but it was a bunch of regulation around auditors and audits and internal controls inside of companies. And so that created a lot of work for auditors and a lot of work for companies, and that's kind of on the downhill slide, so that work is tailing off a little bit because the regulations have been eased a bit. And so there's a lot of capacity in the industry, which creates pricing pressure, right? It's like just following a standard economic model. And so the bright spots are, unfortunately, reorganization services. So there's a lot of bankruptcies. Fraud investigations are picking up. That's another, economic counter-cyclical service. And, an example that you'll relate to, you guys have you heard of Satyam? Does that name ring a bell? It's a big Indian outsourcing company. They announced a few weeks ago that they had $1 billion worth of cash on their balance sheet. Actually wasn't really there. So they were fraudulently reporting their financial results. And so we're doing a bunch of work at Satyam to investigate that. So there's some funny counter-cyclical services like that. But at the same time, we are still seeing companies invest in infrastructure. So some companies have the perspective that I want to come out of the downturn stronger, so I'm going to fix some of my problems now. I'm going to fix my systems. I'm going to do some mergers. So in Silicon Valley, there's a lot of cash on companies' balance sheets, and valuations are coming down. So that creates an opportunity for companies to buy and perhaps merge with some players who are weakened by the economic situation. And that merged company will then be stronger when we come out of the downturn.